Peddler Polly and the Story Stealer by Aaron Shepherd. Peddler Polly, goods bought here and sold there. That was the sound on Peddler Polly's cart as her horse pulled her up Main Street. Peddler Polly looked around and smiled.
I'm so glad to be back in Tailtown. Imagine a town where everyone tells stories.
Peddler Polly parked at the town square. Over on Town Hall, she saw a notice.
Stories for today. Bring a story, if you still know one.
If you still know one?
Hello, Peddler Polly, came a sad little girl's voice.
Well, it's my old friend Penny. Do you have a good story for me? I'll gladly trade for something from my carts.
Penny sobbed and sniffed. I don't have any stories at all. Hardly anyone in Tailtown does. We're losing all our stories.
Losing your stories? Whatever do you mean?
We start to tell a story and then it's gone. We can't remember it anymore. Come to the story swap this afternoon and you'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Another cart had parked on the square. Its sign said,
Dr. Sebastian Spellbinder, entertainment paraphernalia.
In the cart stood a man with a top coat, top hat and goatee, surrounded by piles of wooden boxes.
A crowd was gathered before him.
You've heard of a storyteller, and you've heard of a storybook. Well, I'm here to show you something finest though. The brand new patented Spellbinder Storybox.
Oh, Peddler Polly, he's telling stories.
Dr. Spellbinder held up one of the wooden boxes, showing a pane of glass on one side.
He flipped a switch and the glass came to life. Tiny characters moved across the pane and tiny voices came out.
Someone in the crowd yelled,
It's Cinderella!
Dr. Spellbinder turned a knob and a different moving picture appeared.
That was Puss in Boots. He turned the knob again, and that's Sleeping Beauty. Never again will you have to ask for a story, and never again will you have to imagine the pictures. Who will be the first to buy a Spellbinder Storybox?
I'll take one.
So will I. I'll take two.
Two, please. Before long, Dr. Spellbinder's cart was empty. The town square was covered with children and grown-ups, all staring blankly at the little boxes.
I don't like the looks of this.
When Peddler Polly arrived at the story swap that afternoon, town hall was packed. The room was buzzing with talk about the lost stories and the Spellbinder story boxes.
Finally, Mayor Bertha Bigwig took the stage. She glanced nervously around her.
Welcome to the story swap. It is my honor to tell the first story, The Pied Piper of Hamelin.
From her seat by an open window, Peddler Polly heard a soft whir and a sucking noise.
Life in the town of Hamelin was pleasant, or it would have been, if not for
The mayor turned pale.
I've lost my story!
And she ran from the stage. A horrified murmur rose in the room.
Martin Marbles, the school teacher, tried next.
My story is Jack and the Beanstalk. Again, Peddler Polly heard the word and the sucking. There was once a poor widow who had an only son named. Oh no! He fled the stage in tears.
Next came Penny.
This is the myth of Pegasus.
Peddler Polly heard the noises once more.
A long time ago in Greece, there was a horse called Pegasus. This horse was special because...
Stop the swap! We can't afford to lose any more stories. It's the end of storytelling in Tailtown.
End of storytelling.
End of storytelling.
As excited talk filled the room, Peddler Polly thought she heard a cackle out the window.
She looked and she saw a man with a top coat and a top hat hurry away from the building. He carried a large wooden box covered with switches, knobs and dials with a long hose attached to it.
It's Dr. Spellbinder. I'd better look into this.
Peddler Polly hastened from the hall. She followed Dr. Spellbinder from a distance as he left the town hall and made his way into the hills.
At last, Dr. Spellbinder disappeared through the mouth of a cave. Peddler Polly followed him in and stopped in astonishment. The huge cave was full of mechanisms and contraptions, all of them noisily pulling or pushing or pulsing or pounding.
Dr. Spellbinder stood at a workbench covered with story boxes and other strange devices. He set down the big box he was carrying and patted it fondly.
3 more stories to put in my story boxes. And all thanks to my brilliant invention, the Spellbinder Story Sucker. Soon I'll steal all the stories in the world. Then everyone will need a story box. And I'll be rich, rich, rich.
Not if I can help it.
Peddler Polly, what are you doing here?
Putting an end to your evil plans, Spellbinder.
You'll never stop me, Peddler Polly.
Then Dr. Spellbinder grabbed the story sucker and sprinted from the cave.
Down the hole, Dr. Spellbinder, while Peddler Polly puffed in pursuit. Without the story sucker, Peddler Polly was faster.
You won't catch me so easily.
He lifted the lid on the story sucker and reached in.
See how you like this story, Peddler Polly.
He threw something behind him. There was a flash of light. Pew! And out of nowhere, a huge crowd of children appeared, coming uphill towards Peddler Polly. They were led by a man in a many-colored costume, playing on a pipe.
Well, I'll be. Peddler Polly pushed past the startled man, pressed through the crowd of mesmerized children.
It's a catchy tune, kids, but I wouldn't follow a Pied Piper.
Dr. Spellbinder was far ahead, but Peddler Polly ran hard and gained on him.
One good story deserves another.
And he reached into the story sucker. Another flash. Pew! And Peddler Polly saw a boy chopping down a gigantic beanstalk. But just then the boy took to his heels, calling, "Heads up!"
Peddler Polly looked up and stopped just in time. A huge man tumbled from the sky and landed with an earth-shaking crash just before him.
Didn't know stories could be so dangerous.
Peddler Polly ran around the town while she waved to the boy and called.
Thank you, Jack.
Dr. Spellbinder had vanished behind a hill, and Peddler Polly panted after him. As she rounded the bend, she gasped.
Tied to a landing platform was a lighter-than-air balloon, and Dr. Spellbinder was climbing into the basket.
Oh no! Now he'll get away for sure. Unless...
It's all over now, Peddler Polly.
Dr. Spellbinder untied the rope and the balloon floated into the air.
But I still have one more story, and it might as well keep you busy.
If I think the one A is...
Dr. Spellbinder threw to the...
Oh, Dr. Spellbinder, number 3.
Dr. Spellbinder threw it to the ground. Another flash, and there stood a horse with long and graceful wings.
Pegasus!
Peddler Polly ran and leaped onto the horse and dug at her heels. The horse flapped its wings smoothly and rose in the air. Up and up it spun until it was flying circles around the dismayed Dr. Spellbinder.
Guess you forgot your mythology, Spellbinder. Didn't you know Pegasus was a flying horse?
Peddler Polly rode him close, grabbed Dr. Spellbinder and flung him across the horse's back.
My story sucker!
Cried Dr. Spellbinder as the balloon floated away with his invention.
I don't guess we'll need it where you're going. For all kind like shutting up stories, a judge is sure to shut you up. Unhappily ever after.
A few weeks later, when all of Dr. Spellbinder's story boxes had been opened and returned to the rightful owners, the people of Tailtown held a big storytelling festival on the town square. Mayor Bertha Bigwig announced.
And our special guest for today is Peddler Polly!
Hooray!